Good evening. I'll call to order this public hearing, the Douglasville City Council, Thursday, August 10th, 2017 at 6 o'clock p.m. This is our second public hearing for the M&O millage rate for 2017. What we're going to do today is have our Finance Director, Ms. Karen Callan, give a presentation on the millage rate process and all the numbers, and then we will open it for public comment. This is the second of 3 public hearings for the millage rate. The first one was this morning at 10 a.m. The third one will be Thursday, August 17th at 5:45 p.m. No official action will be taken at this meeting today. The council is expected to adopt a millage rate at a special called voting meeting at 6 p.m. on Thursday, August 17th. I'll turn it over to Ms. Callan for her presentation.
Good evening. Thank you for coming out to listen to our presentation on the tax digest and the millage rate increase for the city of Douglasville. As Councilman Siegel said, my name is Karen Callan. I'm the finance director for the city. Been with the city since 2001. When I first got to the city, I didn't know, this is the first time I'd heard what a tax digest is, so I thought maybe it might be a good idea to go over quickly what is a tax digest. And that includes a total value of the city's real and personal property, our timber, mobile homes, motor vehicles, heavy-duty equipment, public utilities, and exemptions against those, which yields our net digest. Your tax bill, it includes 2 rates. It includes the M&O millage rate, and M&O stands for maintenance and operations, and also it includes a bond millage rate. Our M&O millage rate is the tax rate which is applied to the total property values within the city, and this determines the amount of property tax revenue billed by the city. The bond millage rate is the rate which is applied to the total property values or tax digest within the city. The rate is set to yield enough funds to pay the debt service payment on the general obligation bonds for the public administration building. When you add these 2 together, that equals your total property tax billed. This next slide shows the 5-year history of our net digest. The net digest increased by 7% this past year. Our proposed millage rate is 6.911. If you compare the 2016 and the 2017 proposed column at the very bottom, you'll see that we're proposing the same millage rate as we did the prior year. The bond millage rate is not required to be published or advertised because the voters have approved that through a voter referendum. The total tax rate decreased by 0.176 or 2.09%, and that is due to a decrease in the bond millage rate. The city refinanced the general obligation bonds for the public safety building, and we saved $136,000 in the debt service payment this year. We're able to pass that on to the citizens with a net lower millage rate. Last year at 8.437, this year at 8.261. So then why are we advertising for a tax increase of 4.38% if our millage rate is decreasing? And that is due to the Taxpayer Bill of Rights. There are 2 types of increases in the tax digest. There are the inflationary increases, and there are the increases due to improved properties. Each year, when the Senate bill passed, Senate Bill 177 passed in 1999, they required us to roll back our millage rate, the millage equivalent of inflationary properties. So if your property value increased this year and our millage rate stayed the same, you're paying higher taxes to the city. On this next slide, you can see the notice of property tax increase. This was published in the paper. Due to the law, the Taxpayer Bill of Rights, we were required to advertise this in the legal organ, and we're advertise it 3 times and also have 3 public hearings. The rollback rate was 6.621. We did have to publish it. You can see a tax increase of 4.38%. That is on a $125,000 house, $14.50 a year, which is $1.20 a month. On a $150,000 house, it's $17.40 a year, or $1.45 a month. Budget development. The budget is developed with estimates of property values. When we developed the budget, March through June, we do not have the tax digest numbers from the tax assessors at that time. Douglas County government is responsible for assessing the property within the city. We have discussed with them about trying to get earlier property values so we can time it with our budget. However, they did say that they will try as much as they can. They can give us estimates, but they do not see giving the final numbers in time for us to adopt our budget on June 30. So we have to have our budget adopted by June 30 by state law, and at that time, we do not have our tax digest numbers. Once the actuals are known, then we have to adjust the millage rate to reflect the property tax revenue that we programmed in the budget. Some things that might affect the revenue received are collection rates. If the city collects at 100%, we would receive an additional $228,000 in revenue. If the collection rates are 97%, then we would be at a shortfall of $21,589. Also, appeals during the year will also reduce the property tax revenue collected. This next slide shows our historical digest values. Since 2009, 2010, property values have been declining. Our property tax revenue has also been declining because we have held the millage rate steady until we were forced to increase it in 2015 due to service delivery strategy negotiations with the Douglas County government. So we have been losing revenue for a couple of years due to the property tax decline. In 2017, the property tax values are showing an uptick due to the improvement in the economy. In summary, the total tax rate is comprised of the M&O, maintenance and operations millage rate, plus the bond millage rate. The total tax rate will decrease by 0.176 or 2.9%. versus the 2016 rate. The maintenance and operations millage rate did not increase, but because we did not adopt the rollback rate of 6.621, we must advertise for a tax increase. The bond millage rate decreased due to the refinancing of the bonds for the public safety building. The final public hearing will be on August 17th at 5:45 p.m. And Thursday, August 17th, we'll have the final adoption at a special call meeting. Any comments or questions?
Thank you, Ms. Callan. At this time, I will open up the floor for any comments or questions from elected officials or citizens attending. Just please come to the podium, give us your name and address for the record, and then proceed with your comments. Hearing none, we will close public comments for this public hearing. Madam Mayor, Councilman Adams, would you like to add anything?
I would like to thank Ms. Callan and staff for the job done to present this. I think it was done in a very professional yet very simple manner in order to hopefully assist our citizens in understanding why we have to advertise for a tax increase when actually our millage rate is lower. And it's very elementary. It's also very complex, and I appreciate you doing that. Thank you very much. Second time I've sat through it, and it gets clearer every time.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. I'd echo what Councilman Adams has said. This is really a great explanation on how in 2009 and until 2015, we did not raise the millage rate. And of course, the economy was bad at that time as well. And we had to raise it in 2015 because of the service delivery agreement with the county. But it really does help a very complicated issue to become clearer, and for us to, although $14.50 or $17 or $25 is a difference, it isn't free, that it helps citizens to understand the services and how taxes are done in this city. So thank you again for all of your hard work and for your department and how you make things really help us to understand the issues. So thank you again. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
As I said before, the final public hearing will be Thursday, August 17th at 5:45 p.m. right here in the auditorium at the Douglasville Conference Center. Having no other business to come before us at this public hearing, we stand adjourned.